Now, thick smoke was seen billowing from the roof of Ukraine's cabinet of ministers building on Sunday after Russia unleashed its largest aerial assault on the country to date, according to Ukrainian authorities. The attack, which struck multiple targets across Kiev, left at least 2 people dead elsewhere in the capital. The deadly barrage comes amid a sharp escalation in hostilities following the failure of a key diplomatic meeting between former U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin on August 15. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the renewed Russian aggression and said he was relying on a strong and clear response from the United States. Now, for more on this, we're joined by our senior international correspondent and anchor, Afia Hagen. Afia, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Please tell us what's the situation on ground in Ukraine currently.
Well, we had those huge attacks that occurred on Saturday, hit some government buildings. That was one of the biggest attacks of the war so far. It's fair to say that afterwards, US President Donald Trump, not happy that this has occurred, and said that he is issuing a second set of sanctions to Russia. But the situation on the ground is that the barrage and the war continues. At least 6 people have been killed in Russian airstrikes since that huge attack that took place on Saturday. 21 injured, so 6 people and 21 injured. 6 people killed and 21 people injured in the past 24 hours. That's according to regional authorities in the eastern Donetsk region. 4 people were killed in attacks and 10 people were injured. And like I said, that's after those huge attacks that took place on Saturday night. Ukraine's Air Force has said that 810 drones and 13 missiles were launched in that particular attack.
So Trump says he isn't happy about the bombing in Ukraine yesterday. What has been the reaction from the Kremlin?
Well, the Kremlin said that this morning, they said that Europe and the Ukraine were doing everything they could to draw the US into their orbit. That's a direct quote from the Kremlin. It also added that no sanctions will ever be able to force Russia to change its position. So basically, Russia saying, well, you can put more sanctions on us, Donald Trump, a second round of sanctions if you want, but it's not going to change our mind. We're going to continue down this path that we're on and continue with this course of action.
Okay, and what is the latest on the ceasefire talks then?
Well, it seems that those ceasefire talks have all but stalled since we saw Vladimir Putin in Alaska with President Trump over the summer. Now President Trump has said that individual European leaders are going to visit the US today or tomorrow to discuss how to resolve the war. Now, we don't know if that's going to bring an official statement, if there's going to be a summit. We know that here in Europe, we do have a coalition of the willing headed by the UK and France. And that's all about supporting the Ukraine and pushing for the ceasefire. There definitely will be members of that coalition of the willing that will be meeting with Trump in the US over the next few days. So it remains to be seen what comes out of those meetings.
Well, Chamoun, thank you very much for the details that you brought. And we'll be coming back to you frequently for the details and updates. Thank you.